We spoiled. We got to a certain degree and we feel like we good.
What that boy Wayne said, I'm a young, rich nigga. If that don't tell you America care about black folk, then I don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying?
And a lot of people feel that way, bro.
One code, one thing, one rule, man, that shit don't change. And it's certain real niggas do real fucking things. Real
One thing that really aggravates me about this Slim Dog's going crazy over there. Man, like, you know, people, like we just finished talking about, people love just like trying to be fucking cool. You know what I mean? For all the wrong reasons. And it's like right now, you know, there's this big contingent of people that want to be cool in that way of like, you know, I'm not voting, like voting doesn't fucking matter, right? Like voting doesn't matter. Okay. You know, and I was telling Martin earlier, you know, my grandmother, great-grandmother actually, you know, who's still living right fucking now. She's like 80-something, close to 90, you know what I'm saying? I remember her telling me a story about how she tried to go vote, like, you know, some years and years and years ago, and the white men who were there said to her, nigga, what are you doing here? What are you doing? So I know that fucking shit matters, because if voting didn't matter, like, these people wouldn't be going out their way to try to get us to not vote or like make it difficult for us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if it didn't matter, they wouldn't give a fuck how much we fucking voted, because they would know that there's some other mechanism to counteract however we fucking vote. But if they're going out of our way to like redline us and change this and change that, and, you know, outages at the fucking polls and shit, it doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, they fucking matter, because they count the fucking votes.
Thank you.
You know, and it fucking matters because it's your vote. You know what I mean? So it's like really arrogant. Like, I just hate that arrogant, you know, I'm not gonna vote, like voting doesn't matter, like we need to be focused on the other shit. No, bitch, we need to focus on this shit too. Like, this is also a part of the fucking
Niggas act like it is so hard to do. Like they act like nigga ask you to pick cotton again. Like, son, nigga just asked you to press a few buttons, son. A few buttons, son. That shit took me 10 minutes.
Just say you don't understand politics.
Just say
Even then, go press a button.
Just say
During the last presidential election, more people voted for American Idol than voted for President of the United States. And not like 3 more people, millions more people. Like, basically, the leader of the free world is Jordan Sparks. Like, voting is such a pain in the ass. Think about it. You mean to tell me that if I want to vote for president, what I have to do is wake up a couple hours earlier than I want to on a Tuesday? I have a job I don't want to go to on a Tuesday. And not just any Tuesday, a Tuesday in cold-ass November. Well, you could also vote after work. Oh yeah, I could go haul ass after work, go pick up my snot-nosed, hungry-ass children and lock them in my car as I go inside a post office. Place I don't even want to go to when I have mail. I could do all that. Or I could just go home, sit down on my couch, pick up my phone, and for a couple of dollars, just vote for the gay kid on American Idol and hope they sing a song that changes the world.
It's what we often talk about, people not wanting to accept their ignorance, or that they might be wrong about something. Because my thing is this, there's people that probably actually in their hearts don't believe in the voting system. You know what I mean? They just don't believe in it.
And there ain't reasons why.
And I'm saying, if you have your reasons why you don't believe in the voting system, that's fine. But don't deter others to not vote because you're not voting, unless you can give them some concrete reasons as well. Because a lot of times these people, they just be like, the voting shit's stupid, I don't know why you're doing it, it don't help nothing. Yeah. And they don't come with nothing else. And I'm saying this, and the thing is, I need your reason for not voting to be something educated, as in you know the process, you know the shit. Because don't talk to me and you don't know nothing.
How do you imagine that people get power?
Well, I imagine there are sort of hierarchical systems that have been preserved through generations.
Get power by being voted in.
Well, you
That's
say
how
that,
they
Jeremy,
get it.
but
You
like
can't even be asked to vote.
It's quite a narrow prescriptive parameter that changes within the.
In a democracy, that's how it works.
Well, I don't think it's working very well, Jeremy. Given that the planet is being destroyed, given that there is economic disparity of a huge degree, what are you saying? There's no alternative. There's no alternative.
No, I'm not
just this
saying
system.
that. I'm saying if you can't be asked to vote, why should we be asked to listen to your political point of view?
You don't have to listen to my political point of view. point of view, but it's not that I'm not voting out of apathy. I'm not voting out of absolute indifference and weariness and exhaustion from the lies, treachery, deceit of the political class that has been going on for generations now, and which has now reached fever pitch where we have a disenfranchised, disillusioned, despondent underclass that are not being represented by that political system. So voting for it is tacit complicity with that system, and that's not something I'm offering up.
Well, why don't you change it then?
I'm trying to.
Well, why don't you start by voting?
You can really articulate to me like real reasons why you don't want to vote and like make it make sense to me, I will accept that shit.
Your prerogative.
But don't just try to be fucking cool and anti and edgy and shit.
And that's what a lot of people are being.
corny.
A lot of them just like to
You know
look
what I'm
like,
saying?
oh, I'm just not voting and not...
Because I understand the real system.
But the truth of the matter is they won't accept or admit that, you know what, bro? You just don't understand it, don't you?
Right.
Or you just honestly don't feel like going instead of just being honest about
Right.
that. Like, I don't feel like doing that shit.
Right,
And
because you can just say that and
bro, I would
nigga like
respect
me would be okay. Alright.
I won't agree all the way, son, but I would respect a nigga being that real versus you give me a whole bunch of poppycock that don't sound
Right.
like nothing.
Man.
Just to
Say
say
me
some
that.
shit to
Right.
then
Hey,
sound
man,
smart.
Them
Right.
niggas, them the
I
type
hate
of
that.
niggas that blow weed smoking their grandma's face. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Wait, what?
you don't trust niggas like that. You know what I mean? Them niggas that's the type of nigga that blow smoking their grandma's face. You know what I'm saying?
Your grandma like weed?
They say, well, if you don't vote, you have no right to complain. But where's the logic in that? If you vote and you elect dishonest, incompetent people and they get into office and screw everything up, well, you are responsible for what they have done. You caused the problem. You voted them in. You have no right to complain. I, on the other hand, who did not vote, am in no way responsible for what these people have done and have every right to complain as loud as I want about the mess you created that I had nothing to do with.
These people who usually don't are only thinking that they're voting for president. They walk their ass in here and hit Biden now. No, as I have said, president only does so much. You need to vote
Locally.
down ballot. That way you know what is going on. Because a lot of these judges, and I know you holding that for a moment, but I know a lot of these judges, a lot of these people who are district attorneys, senators, do so much more. So if you need to be voting down the motherfucking dog catcher.
Lawrence, you are spitting absolute facts right now, and I think I can say beyond a shadow of a doubt, that is where black culture is getting fucked at. Like, that is where we are losing the whole entire battle. Like we can postulate about all this fucking shit, but that down part of the ballot that niggas don't know about, that's where we're getting fucked at. That's
The people who make laws
shit.
on them red light tickets, the people who make laws on how long you can spend
about
in
the
jail
sentence you had.
for possession charge, and people who
Right.
make laws about your house and what's counted as city district lines. They got all kind of layers and levels to how your local
school system
government,
and shit.
school system, all kind of shit. That when you say I don't vote because they don't do nothing, it's like, my nigga, no.
All right, yeah, you're right. Because
Yes,
look what you're doing to make sure they don't do nothing.
90% of the country don't even know who their local top DA person is. Like, generally, we only know the governor, the mayor, and president.
And you're trusting your life, your money, and your kids to these people you
To
don't
all these
fucking know,
other
and these people that you
subsections,
won't even research or vote to
Right.
to see if they your kind of motherfucker.
Right.
If I'm trying to get free, I'm gonna get free however I can get free. I'm gonna vote, I'm gonna hunt, I'm gonna train, I'm gonna fish, I'm gonna protest, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna do everything it takes for me to achieve freedom, and that includes voting. But locally is why voting is important. So before you ever get to what your governor controls, what your city controls, and those statewide amendments locally. So you take something like the 65 and older homestead exemption. That's going to give people who live in this neighborhood. This neighborhood is a 65 and older neighborhood. So these people that are being priced or pushed out or gouged out by gentrification, by property values going up because their neighbors are moving in, will get some tax relief. So that's an important deal. So that's why I came out and voted in a statewide election, but it affects these people locally, and these are the people that essentially reared me.
When you vote in a president, you vote in that nigga regime
Yes.
and what that nigga believe, and that's gonna trickle down too. Let's not forget that part.
It's
So
not
when you
just
try to
one
say if I
fucking
vote Biden or if I vote Trump, I'm voting the same type of shit. Nah, my nigga. Democrats come with a different type of shit, good and bad.
'Cause
Republicans come with a different kind of shit, good and bad. But the thing is, one thing that's always been with Democrats, I'll give them this. Not always, but in our modern times, they allow themselves to be held accountable by the people way more than the Republicans. Republicans, they be on their values and they ride that shit.
They toe the line.
They ride that shit. Democrats, if you make enough noise, the Democrats don't like to look bad. They like to look like the good guys in this. That's how you got a lot of shit passed in Clinton and with Barack. Barack was pumped into some shit because he didn't want to fucking look bad. You heard me? Trump don't give a fuck how he looked at you, po nigga.
You know what? I'm not surprised that boy Kanye got 60,000. That's just about enough as his concerts.
Bro, I'm not surprised that Kanye got votes.
Dumbasses around here.
He was gonna get votes. People will vote for him just to say that they voted for Kanye.
Now here go my question when I look at that.
Rick have a joke about that? Like about when he's like, I voted for Jesse Jackson. Like when he had that joke about that.
Jesse Jackson seen that shit and said, fuck it, I'm gonna run too. Fuck it. Jesse, you can win. I see his brothers going, you can win, Jesse, because you bigger than motherfucking Howard Washington. Fuck Howard Washington. Fuck him, man. Run for president. And Jesse going, yeah, fuck that shit. He know if he win, because you know he got a chance he can win. White dudes like to do shit like that, vote for the wrong dude as a goof. They get drunk and shit and go in there and say, let's vote for Jesse Jackson. I just voted for Jesse Jackson. The next day they be like this, they fucking won?
Like that shit.
And that's the fundamental difference, because like if you look at the history of voting, that's kind of so disrespectful how like you just said what happened with your great grandma, like almost having to like be disrespected to even go to the polls, but realize how powerful her vote was, versus white people, they never had that specific power instilled in them in the same way to realize people didn't die trying to do this type of shit.
But we're still gonna be white though.
You know what I'm saying?
We're still gonna be living.
And I know that becomes an age-old thing. Well, people died through the vote. Some people be like, well, they didn't die, but it's like, my nigga, no, it's not like motherfuckers say, kill me so my son can vote. They don't mean it literally. It's just the fact that so many of our ancestors and so many of our grandparents and great-grandparents and some of your parents, you know what I mean, went through a lot of shit over the years just to have equal footing in a country that told them that they would have equal footing, and it never came to be. So when people tell you shit like certain privileges you should take advantage of because people died for them, because people literally died for the whole concept of being a whole human being in a country that told them that they weren't. That's the point. That's the point that gets so missed.
Nigga had to go from 3/5 of a person to a whole person.
In their country.
You know how fucking fucked up that is, dog? To go from, are you a 3/5 of a person?
I know as a young man, I contribute to it too, because I'm part of this generation. But it's just when you look back and be like, some of the shit that we be griping about and bullshitting about and deciding to be contrarian about and anti about, it be some bullshit, yo.
And it's usually due to our own lack of fucking knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Like we feel like our vote doesn't fucking matter, but no, it doesn't matter because you don't know shit. You don't even know how to effectively use your fucking vote. That's why it doesn't fucking matter.
I'm not my ancestors. You could catch these hands. You don't know what your ancestors.
You damn sure ain't your ancestors. We don't never had to experience the shit that they went through, dog. It's like our grandmas and great grandmas, dog, saw niggas get lynched in their own time, and as what it is for a picnic for white folks. We'll never witness no shit like that. We'll never witness motherfuckers bombing out all our whole fucking towns out and shit like that. They lived through that shit. So like to say that they're weak and that we're not them, dog, is a fucking slap in their face because motherfucker can say some shit online and niggas going to a whole bitch fit.
And the fact of that you could sit behind the comfort of your computer, your keyboard, and your air-conditioned house. You feel me? With all this privilege that we had that allowed our ancestors would only dream of. Like I love the shirt, I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. I love that. You feel what I'm saying? Because because it's like, dude, when they say, because the problem is what you said, D, lack of education. When you talk about Black History Month, many of us have depended upon Black History Month to teach our black people history, and all you get is a sanitized version of it. You get slavery.
Martin Luther King.
No. Let's say what it is. You get submission, slavery, non-violence, Martin Luther King. We're here. We don't. A lot of hip hop. You feel me? A lot of the slave revolts aren't covered. A lot of the Black Panthers, the Malcolm X, the Marcus Garveys, the radicals, the violent people. And I'm not saying that they're all violent, but just all the people that did all kind of shit. Like we say in politics right now, like the wheels turn. We talk about politics right now when we often say it takes non-violence and violence. It takes riots, it takes people just being loud, making a change. Come on, a lot of people don't even know the fuck Tucson Overture is, and they're gonna talk about I ain't my ancestors. And then you wouldn't do half this shit. You wouldn't do a piece of what some of these motherfuckers did to get their humanity, my nigga.
Nous faisons malhonnête. Tout ça me fait nous détruire. Qui moun qui bat nous l'ordre? Ou même vin là. Qui moun ki bon l'ordre? Qui moun ki bon l'ordre? C'est Moïse. Restez là. Ou même vin là. Ou même tout. Et ou même. Parti. Ces hommes sont des traîtres. Fusillez-les. Tout ça, c'est un ordre.
First of all, bitch, please, because first of all, 90% of y'all scary. Y'all can't even talk back to y'all own fucking boss at y'all job when they talk to you fucking crazy. Y'all about to come out here in these fucking streets for a civil war, and you think you's gonna like stand up during civil rights like you're not your ancestors? You fucking scary now. Like,
somebody said we are in the civil rights movement, so whatever you doing right now is what you would have been fucking doing back then. Our black radicals had a lot of pushback from our fellow black people.
Absolutely.
Y'all, like, they sanitized that shit like everybody love Martin Luther King. No!
Let me
You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, there's so much shit. Like, Chris Rock just recently said he hate watching civil rights films because he like, dog, they don't really give it that real, my nigga.
I hate all civil rights movies.
What?
Don't get me wrong. I applaud the effort,
Right.
and they should exist. The problem is they only show the back of the bus and the lunch counter. They actually make racism look very like fixable.
Right.
And they don't really get into how dysfunctional the relationships were. And like in the 40s and 50s, like white men would just walk in your house and take your food. It's a predator-prey relationship. What you think white guys, what you think when it was time to rape, they were raping white women? No, they would go and rape the women they could actually rape without going to jail for. My mother used to get her teeth taken out at the vet.
Yeah.
Because you weren't allowed to go to the dentist. Like no movie shows you that.
Yeah.
Nigga. And there's so many stories, G.
Boy, that make nigga want to create something that's
Bro, there's so
it's
many
real,
stories.
It's some real shit, some real stories.
So don't talk shit about your people, dog, because I don't understand the strength that you need to have to survive in them kind of fucking times, bro. None of us have been equipped with that because they grew up in the trenches, so they had another layer that we never was equipped.
Was never.
Right.
Dog, we can't speak on that, dog. Like you say, if there's one inventory that we know about, just imagine the ones we don't.
Exactly.
One code, one thing, one rule, man, that shit don't change. It is served. Real niggas do real fucking things.